Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica, Imperialis and to today's video. Today is the latest episode of Adeptus Podcastus. I forgot to check what episode number I was on. I've got my intro wrong because I forgot to do the reading. It is episode 122. There we go, I got it that time. Slight change in the panel for today around the table. Remley's has got a few things going on at home in terms of like animal trouble. I'm not going to get into specific details. I'll let him share that if he wants to in his own time. But suffice to say that he is not going to be joining us for today's episode. And we will keep you in the loop in terms of upcoming episodes. Hopefully we'll be back for the next one. But we will just keep you informed if anything changes. But if you can't get the one on the throne, get the power behind the throne. That's what I say. So, joining me today is one of the most popular voices on 40k theories and part of the team. Ladies, gentlemen, Xenos of all ages and everything in between, I give you the one, the only, Naerina.
Aw, thank you so very much. And yes, of course, power behind the throne. Also, if you hear funny, fart sounds or something like that, that's my chair going on creaky. So don't mind that. And yeah, let's hope that the pet situation will get better soon with Rem.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a real shame that he couldn't be with us because we actually are recording this a little bit later. It's the 9th of May, it's Sunday, and we did that because of the week of Warhammer Fest reveals, which we will be going through, which will take a little bit less time than I thought it would, but we will be going through Warhammer Fest this week. But you should be aware that there are 2 teachers on this panel, and there is no Remlays to moderate that. So fair warning.
Are we going to get 2 times the head desks, or just 0 times the head desks?
I don't think there was anything particularly head desk worthy this episode.
Oh dearie, you don't know my sense of humour.
A valid point.
It's horrible. I tell dad jokes to my students and they're like, just stop it.
I've had one where I've made a reference and one of the students just piped up and said, "You didn't." And I did.
You have just one of them. I'm like, I have all the references and I'm like, dearies, you're too young for this. Do I have to get a frigging, I don't know, a cane? Get it gold and, use it as like a pimp would because I'm not that old yet, hopefully at least.
Yeah, I've had a few where I've gone, hang on a minute, you're too young for that joke, aren't you? Never mind. And if I've got any students listening, then they know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Hi, Tactica students.
Yes, I'm not really sure if any of them are still watching the channel after all the streaming stuff went away, but whatever. Anyway, in the news this week, as mentioned, it was Warhammer Fest 2021 online edition with 6 days of reveal streams showing things from across most of the worlds of Warhammer. Now, I'll be completely honest, I was fully expecting to be getting 1 to 2 hour shows a day, because Warhammer Fest in the past has been, for those who are new to the hobby, like a pandemic era arrivee, Warhammer Fest is normally a weekend of seminars that go on from something like 9, 10 in the morning to 3, 4 o'clock in the evening. So about 6 hours. Yeah, it's 2 days of 6 hours each with a reveal in each seminar. So all in, there's about 12 hours minus changeover time in the seminar halls, I suppose. So call it 6 to 9 hours of reveals, interviews, discussions, and things like that, alongside all the amazing things that you can do at a Warhammer convention. And so I was fully expecting that with 6 days of streams, we were going to get about 1 hour per day, maybe a little bit more. That's not what happened. We got 6 half-an-hour streams across Age of Sigmar, 40k twice, Black Library, Underworlds and other box games, and then a mystery show on the Saturday, which we will come to in due time. So it kind of felt, given the hype that Warhammer Fest normally generates, it felt a little bit anemic in terms of pure content. Like, I feel like we got a day's worth of Warhammer Fest across this week. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I didn't because I have to be teaching. I had to be teaching, and then I just was all and over and done with everything once I got home. So I didn't actually watch the whole thing thoroughly. But from what I looked at the articles, I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, to be sure, there are a lot of things, but I don't know. It's just it's also short.
Yeah, it definitely did feel a bit short. And particularly that's true of the Saturday show, which we'll come on to. I managed to watch the Monday show live because it was a bank holiday in the UK. It was the
handy.
First week of May. The Monday is always a bank holiday, so I had the day off. I caught the Friday stream and I caught the Saturday stream. The midweek ones I did not catch. I had to read the articles in post. So we'll break this up, I think, and we'll go maybe not just straight up day by day, but we'll certainly go sort of game by game, I think is probably the way I want to do it. And we will start, I think, given it's a 40k podcast in its title, we'll start with Warhammer 40,000 and the Adeptus Sororitas, who have been getting a few bits and bobs here and there over the past few weeks, and finally got their big reveal on the Tuesday.
And I've got to say, I'm already, even before we get there, I'm already a huge fan of a certain vroom vroom gonna shoot you up to your doom tank.
Which one was that one?
Which one was that one? It was the. Come on now, where is the link? Over there. The Castigator.
The Castigator.
Yeah. The Castigator, absolutely.
Yes, so this was the Sororitas Predator, basically. Sorry, I
That's all right.
Because I didn't think it was, when he said vroom vroom, I was like, hang on, I did get a fast vehicle that I completely missed.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah, but we did get a second look at the Castigator. We got a fleshed out look at the Paragon Warsuit, which is confirmed will be coming in kits of 3, so you get 3 in a squad. With a few different weapon options, including swords, maces, melters, flamers, bolters, and the unholy trinity of this is how you die to Sisters of Battle, bolter, flamer, melter, every single time.
Indeed.
We got a further look at the Celestian Sacrosancts, which were revealed in the run-up to the last episode, the ones with the shields and the melee weapons.
The bodyguards.
Yeah, so they've shown them now to have both mace weapons, but also the halberd option. And I think the mace weapons are a lot better because they just feel more usable, practically, because the halberd just felt too tall, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I was watching a video about this, and I don't remember who mentioned it, but these could be used as bodyguards for the high up people in the sororitas. So having a halberd there is kind of well, you came too close. Oh no, now we're dead.
Yeah, and to solve that problem, you have a pistol in the shield. But I certainly think the mace variants are a lot better. And one thing I didn't clock the last time is the fact that instead of having proper helms, they're just hooded, which I quite like.
Yeah, it's fun to see hoods from on someone else than just some space marines.
And it is, given their sort of status as a monastic order. Obviously, nuns are known particularly well. Western history depicts nuns with hoods and very much ordered cowls and things like that.
Yeah,
and
true.
The sisters haven't really gone that way, and they've either been bareheaded or helmeted. These sort of hoods, they look really menacing. It's not these are nuns press ganged into battle. No, they're wearing a hood and they're going to ruin your life. They feel really quite intimidating.
Yeah, basically. And if that kind of a woman walked towards me, I was like, okay, either someone's dead or someone's going to die, and that someone is going to be then, hoisted onto those spikes on her back.
It's a very nice back banner, including one with a candelabra. Not a candelabra. Is it called a candelabra that looks like that? No, they're the hanging one. That's chandelier, Tactica.
Yeah. Well, candle hold. That Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, that one. With the inquisitorial rosette, as you do.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's too dark in here, so I'll just use candles. Because this helps.
Yeah, there was the Palatina, the Dogmata, which we'd seen before, which is the one from the box game, and the one with the weird haircut.
Yeah.
We then got a further look at a model that had been revealed in the last Battle Sister Bulletin, Astrid Thurger and Agathe Dolan, with the Auto Tapestry of the Emperor's Judgment. I'm trying to think of what their official title is. I still can't tell.
Question. I don't know.
But yes, a battle standard bearer and a Hagiolator who writes stuff down. Basically, it's a banner bearer and a Remembrancer. Nice.
Yeah, there's, Agatha looks like she's going to go into a small English village and just solve some murders there, like, absolutely.
She looks like a Primaris Psyker, I'll be completely honest.
Perhaps she is the one who does the murders.
Yeah,
tree.
But if the Sister Battle are allowing Psykers, then something has gone very, very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like it as a design, and I reckon that a lot of Inquisitorial players and Guard players would really quite like that for a sort of a wizened female Primaris Psyker. I think that's a really quite nice baseline.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly like the fact that there are different kinds of faces and different kind of ages for these models here, and not just like, hey, we're all the clean cut, all with white hair and yay.
Yeah,
wow.
Though could we give Astrid Thurger a different haircut, because by God, that fringe.
You don't appreciate it. Wow.
The face looks odd. Like the eyes are screwed shut, and she's shouting whilst gesturing with a sword. It's like, I'm going to hold, but she's not planted the banner. I'm going to wrap this banner up in one arm, point a sword, screw my eyes shut, and shout in the name of the Emperor. And I know that's not what she's doing, but I can't unsee that.
She looks like she's saying, Mom! I don't know why I was going to continue, but the bowler cut over there, just like, she looks like a 4-year-old boy with that cut, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, and then Mother is right next door giving her a scolding with the Inquisitorial staff.
Basically. It's like I know, dearie, but you wanted to have the grown-up stuff, so I took yours, and now look where you are headed. You cannot keep it up, so you have to put it down.
Yeah, it is one of those. I cannot remember off the top of my head if this model comes with a non-named option. I'm going to just go flick back to the Battle Sister Bulletin to check whether there is...
I don't remember myself.
There is a helmeted variant.
Ooh.
Which I think has got the face... It's still got the face, but it's got... like the medieval knights where they lift up the central plate?
Yeah.
That.
Nice.
You don't get a very good angle of it, but it is just her with 2 head options in the end.
It's still cool.
Still cool.
Also, can we just appreciate the detail that has gone into that banner?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine it, because it's so furled up, I can imagine there's going to be some people who are going to go, oh God, how am I going to paint that? And I'm sitting here with a Venari banner blade for my Lumineth, which again is a really detailed, sculpted banner, kind of like that. Yeah. Actually, I think this one is more detailed than the Venari banner blade. But I can imagine that trying to paint all the text details, if they're not sculpted, is going to be a nightmare. If any of that is freehand, it's going to be hell to paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finally, last but certainly not least, the second High Lord of Terror to take the battlefield. We had Trajan Valoris as the Captain General of the Adeptus Custodes, and now we have Morven Val, the Abbess Sanctorum, the new Abbess Sanctorum of the Adepta Sororitas.
And High Lord of Terror. Badass.
She does indeed. A High Lord of Terror with a Paragon warsuit wielding a Lance of Illumination, which basically was a gift from the Custodes. She's got one of the Space Marines style bolters with a shield on it, which is called Sanctorum Prioris, which I like. Helmeted option, which is always nice. And yeah, she looked absolutely badass.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that model, and just like in the article about this, just the pose in which she is, and like how it is, like how the photo is taken. She just looks like, okay, you over there. You're so dead. Like you can choose if you want me to hit you or if you want me to shoot you. It's all up to you, but you're dead.
And it's quite nice that it talks about like these characters she's on par with in terms of status, not stat line, but status. Cesarek, Abaddon, Trajan. All those characters, when they're designed, are not generally designed in mid-battle poses. Cesarek is standing there looking regal. Abaddon is standing there looking like a badass. And Trajan is standing there. She looks like she's on the battlefield. She's not shouting, but she's on the battlefield. She's either just swept through with the lance. You could probably bloody up the lance and have it fizzling the blood away.
Oh, absolutely.
If you wanted it in a battle pose, or you can have it as you describe it, pointing out an enemy or giving an order, rather than just pulling a badass pose to look badass. We'll get to one of those later.
Yeah, because like I get the feeling just from the pose of this character, like I don't even know that much about her background or backstory or anything. Yeah, indeed, just because of that. But still, like she looks like, okay, you guys can have your fun and have those freaking poses, whatever. I'm doing this now, and I'm good. I'm gonna just run the whole thing for you. So if you just want to make poses, go ahead. But I've got things to do.
Yeah, like at a glance, I wouldn't have said at a glance that is a High Lord of Terror.
Me neither.
But if you told me that is a High Lord of Terror, if you told me design the Abbess Sanctorum, I would probably and put her in a Paragon war suit. This is the kind of thing I imagine people would come up with. Like,
yeah.
And can we also appreciate she's got gargoyle exhausts?
Yeah, she does. I didn't even notice that.
Well, the other Paragons don't have exhausts at the back. They have just the one central one on their backplate. She's got extra ones that look like gargoyles.
That is so badass.
We'll wait and see quite how powerful she's going to be, because apparently Sisters are one of the strongest armies of the moment. But we will see exactly how she fits in. Very nice stuff. Not for me. I'm not a Sisters person, but very impressive indeed. But from the new characters, we go, staying in 40k, to the very, very old characters, all the way back to the days of 1st and 2nd edition Warhammer 40,000 and Zodgrod Wartsnagger. Orcs. Yes, Orcs.
Oh, my boys. It's like, if I'm ever going to, get an army, that'll be Orcs.
Yeah, I've played Orcs. They were my first army. I don't play them very much now, because I've got my Tau and I've got my AOS, but I will always have a soft spot for the Orcs. Which I think is true of almost every hobbyist. Like, if you ask the hobbyist, do you like Orcs? I can't think of many hobbyists who would tell you no, unless they were super salty.
Yeah. It's just like Orcs, like they have this whole thing like, hey, you just painted red and it goes faster. I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah, go for it. You cannot not love that.
Absolutely. And this is the reveal of the new York Codex and the Beast Snagger Orcs army set, taking a sort of a page out of the Sisters book and the Lumineth book. Where you get an army in a box with the limited edition codex. Said army is all new miniatures, 20 Beast Snagger boys, who we got a look at, one of them a few weeks ago. 3 of the, what are their names? I forgot, Squighog boys, that's it.
Yes, those, yes.
The Squighog boys, you get 3 of those. You also get a knob on Smasher Squig. We'll get back to that one. An adorable grot on Gyro Bomb Squig. And the returning Zodgrod Wartsnagger, the exiled runt herd who was thrown out of his clan for thinking grots were actually worth a damn.
Yeah, goddamn grot rights get you right out of the system.
There is a lot to unpack here.
I adore these. I just love the fact that these poses also, of course, they're like kind of like non-dynamic poses as well, but most of these models have dynamic poses. I just love the fact, because I like to draw, of course, I look at the poses. I love the fact that the miniatures, nowadays look honestly like they're in a fighting stance. They're going in the field and not just like, hi, I'm a space marine.
And what's good particularly about these ones is because they're orcs, they all feel like they have a sense of momentum. Like, there's a lot of, some of them are actually running, but even the ones that are walking or standing feel like they are roaring a challenge at something right in front of them, raising their gun to blast something in the face, or stalking forward, probably yelling obscenities about someone's mother. And it's orcs, it's what they do.
It is.
And I really like the dynamism they have. And the Squighog boys, like, can we just appreciate that one of the Squigs doesn't even have legs? It just has a back wheel. Like, the bottom right orc has just a back wheel.
I hadn't even noticed that. Oh, goodness. That's amazing. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And Zod, and I think the model of the day... Well, okay, there's one down there I need to talk about later. It's the Knob-on Smasher Squig. Because the whole lore behind these things is, if you are one of the bigger, burlier orcs, you're one of the upper echelons, you want to be riding around on your cavalry and smashing in and doing as much damage. But a regular Squighog, which you know is a giant lump of fungus that is going to crush and bite everything it hits, that's just not enough. So there is a unique breed of Squig just for you, which is basically Rampardos from Pokemon, which I know is based on a real-world dinosaur. I don't know its name, so I'm just going with Rampardos from Pokemon.
Ram would know the name, I'm pretty sure.
He would. Where it goes around, you strap an armor plate to its head, and its entire job is to be a living battering ram. And the other detail that the design team actually drew attention to with the Beast Snaggers is because they are monster hunters, that's kind of their gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have got bionics. So the Knob has a bionic arm, and there are Squigs with bionic legs. There are Orcs with bionic eyes all over the place. The equipment is really damaged and worn down. It's Orcs, but still, you've got a lot of that bionical enhancement. And even Zodgrod has that because he's got a claw leg for his right leg, as an example.
Yeah, true.
And a hair squig and a beard squig stapled on. Literally, that is the canon of these things. You don't just grow hair as an orc; you staple a squig on.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, hey, that's not usually what I see when I look at orcs, but now I know. Okay, good, excellent. That is so badass. I love it.
And there's one other unique thing in that kit, which I don't think most people will have noticed. If you look towards the upper right of the image, to the boy that does not have a chopper. That is, I believe, a new gun, because it is not a big shooter, it is not a burner, it is not a rocket launcher. It looks like a shotgun, a blunderbuss type weapon, and that is new, as far as I am aware.
Yeah, very true. I didn't even notice that.
I saw it sort of on its own and thought, is this to mean they're going to get Beast Snagger shooter boys as well? But given every single one of them has choppers, apart from that one, that theory is disproven. So I'm just thinking, is it like a blunderbuss special weapon option? Which would be nice, because big shooters are cool and rocket launchers are cool, but sometimes I want my orcs to have a shotgun.
Yeah, because like if you just like have someone come close to you, is it better to have a shotgun than, a rifle?
Answer, yes.
Yeah, I was just playing with my friend Resident Evil 6, so I'm the shotgun person, yes.
Yeah. And as for Zodgrod, we mentioned the hair squig. I really like the new design of the Grot Prod, which is, by the way, the runt herd weapon. It's an electro-charged cattle prod, basically, used for herding grots.
Nice.
But it's interesting because one end looks like a grot prod and the other end looks like the grabber stick, the other variant for runt herds, which was used for grabbing unruly grots and either feeding them to the squig hunt or throwing them into mines, depending on which edition of 40k you were playing. So he may have the ability to use two different attack variants, where one has more damage with a crushing attack, and the other is more about doing damage to vehicles with a haywire electrical attack. Or
that would be
poisoned
very
attacks
interesting.
like it used to have.
Yeah, honestly, that would be very interesting because, like, I haven't played 40k, in the tabletop version, only the tabletop RPGs. Mm-hmm. But still, to have a weapon with two possible uses like that would be very cool.
And that gun is a combi burner injector pistol.
So yeah, if you're running too fast away from me, I can tranquilize you.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got, we don't know if that's going to be experimental serum, because there is a model we saw earlier, which I need to go back to, which is the pain boss, which is not in this preview. But that is the first single-handed flamer for the Orcs. The only time we've ever seen single-handed flamers before is Blood Angels and a few others, particularly the Sororitas and Blood Angels, particularly with the Inferno pistols. That is the first one-handed flamer weapon we've ever seen for Orcs. And that needle gun, whether it's a trank gun or a buff weapon, where it can be used to stab grots and make them better, a la Fabius Bile and his New Men or something like that, remains to be seen.
Oh, I hope it's the latter one. Oh, I really hope it is the latter one, because that would be so cool.
Yep, and then 40k model of the day in terms of memes went to Grot on Gyro Squig. Like,
the best.
You are Orcs. You can create gyroscopic technology that can support a being this heavily weighted on its back, no legs. And what do? You strap it up with dynamite and wheel it into battle.
Yeah, I was watching
By a
that. Is that
snotling.
dynamite? Yeah, it is.
With a snotling holding
That
a
camouflage
nail.
snotling. He's supposed to be a bee.
Holding a nail. Dear, oh dear.
A stingy bee.
That explodes.
Well, yeah, a hornet. A very
True.
explodey hornet.
True. So yeah, that is the Squigs. And we also got to see the new York Codex, which is coming in that box as a limited edition. And then there will be a separate run not long after they say that the army will very much follow the army box. It won't be like the Lumineth, where there was about 2-3 months between the Lumineth army box and the rest of the Lumineth. It might have even been 4 months. That won't happen again, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And we also got to see, for the first time ever, a war boss in Mega Armor that isn't Gazkul. Hey, it's taken them 2 decades.
Woohoo! Getting there, slowly but surely getting there.
And it's a really interesting redesign of Mega Armor as well. Like, it's very much, there's a lot of plating that is actually missing from the armor relative to the Mega Armored knobs on the arms. And it's really cool. I'm not going to say it isn't, but it feels very much less armored than it used to. But
it feels like, okay, like I have had too much armor on. I just want to move more freely. So screw this. Let's go.
Yeah, they've turned, because in the old canon, Mega Armor was just more plates. And the biggest risk to a Mega Armored knob was getting hit by a rocket launcher, not because it would kill him, but because it would knock him on his arse and all his mates would have to pick him up again. Now, this Mega Armor kind of feels more like power armor, not 40k power armor, Fallout power armor. Like an armored endoskeleton that you pilot into battle.
True.
Like, it protects you, absolutely, but with all the pistons on the legs and all that, it feels like you pilot the suit rather than it's just strapping plating on.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah.
And of course, no self-respect. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that, from Fallout to, what was the game called? God damn it. The moment I'm trying to say something, I just forget everything. It's Borderlands, yes. Krieg from Borderlands, and, that when it comes to the weaponry.
Because no self-respecting warboss would ever deem themselves low enough to carry a gun into battle. So they get the biggest whack-off mega chopper you've ever seen with double spinning blades. No, triple spinning blades. There's a spinning blades at the back as well. And they get their grot slave to stand on their back carrying their prized shooter and shooting on their behalf, because Orcs are worse at shooting than Grots. Grots are better shots.
Yeah, very true. So basically, here I've got the shiniest meat bicycle, but I don't want to set the world on fire.
And I like
also,
the fact,
like click, click, boom, boom, but yeah.
And I like the fact that the gun is actually welded to the power armor on a swivel stick, because it stops the grot shooting the boss in the face, and B, the grot couldn't carry the gun, so all they can do is swivel it, because grots are weedy as anything.
Yeah, out of curiosity, what is that? Grot having his foot on that
It looks like the exhaust. It looks like the exhaust.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I think they should have more grots than just one for this job.
Orcs and intelligence do not go together very often.
Yeah, but yeah.
But they did actually show earlier in the week, or maybe last week now, they showed off another orc model in one of the new Model Mondays, and I need to go and find it, which was something called a Pain Boss. And I need... Where is it? I saw it, and I just need to go and... here we go. It is this model right here. I'll just ping it across to you.
Yeah, good.
Which is a HQ variant of the Pain Boy, which is, they're called, their official name is a Pain Boss, with greater medical skills than anyone else, favoured by the Beast Snaggers for their knowledge of squig physiology, able to craft bionics and stuff, and they are actually quite often given super legs so that they can run much faster, so that they can keep up with the squigs.
I'm just looking at that head, I think he did some, experimenting on himself, but...
Yes, I think he's done a Grotsnick and got himself a nice metal cranium and all that lot.
Also, is that a squig? That's what's the English word for that little pouch in that when you go to the doctors or to the hospital, that is...
Oh, the IV drip, like an IV drip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're using squig, almost like squig venom as on an IV drip.
Oh God, yeah, that's what I meant. Where's my English today? I don't know.
No, it's fine. And they also showed off a new grot orderly, which again, because orcs and cybernetics, this grot does not have a set of legs. They have a unicycle.
Whee! Also, they don't have any hands either.
No arms, no legs, medical tools, and a uniwheel.
So this is basically the smallest Black Knight.
Okay, even I don't get that reference.
Monty Python.
Right, that explains it. Fair enough, yeah. And we're still not done with 40k. As much as we bemoaned how short the shows were, they did actually manage to sneak more in than you think when you actually stop and dissect it.
True.
So the next, not the next reveal, the last 40k reveal of the week was an update to the Cadian Shock Troops kit. So they're not remaking the Cadian kit. They are adding a new upgrade sprue that will find its way into a standalone set and then into the normal boxes in due course. It comes with 25 new heads, including ones with rebreathers, camo packs, beards, eye patches, hats. Apparently people who think it's underwear, I don't bloody get it. And for the first time ever, apart from Severina Rain, canonical female Imperial Guard heads as well. So a nice mix of stuff here.
It's a very good mix indeed, and I really like how different styles they got into, because the heads naturally they are very, very small, and think about if you have to paint one, I'd be there I'm just going to dip it into paint and that's that.
Yeah, but that was me.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was me for a long time. I play elves, so my heads are even daintier.
Yeah, but still, I like the variety. I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in case you were worried, they've also added in special weapons. So now, unlike in the old days where infantry squads were given just grenade launchers and flamers in the kit, and you had to buy command squads to get all the other weapons, now you will get a melter gun, a sniper rifle, which is a long las effectively, a plasma gun, special weapon options in the kit, as well as a bolter, bolt pistol, plasma pistol, and power sword for your sergeant, because you don't get power swords in the kit, you only get chain swords. So, good. Thank you for sorting that, GW.
Very good. Very good work.
And one more thing, Grey Knights and Thousand Sons will be getting a box game soon. We got a trailer.
Soon.
We got a trailer. We don't know when. There will be a battle box that involves Thousand Sons and Grey Knights with new codices for both, I am sure. And I'm assuming that given they name dropped him in the article, that will include a redesign for Castellan Crow, the guy who wields the Blade of Antwer, a demonic blade so dangerous that even the most pure Grey Knight cannot use it as anything other than a pokey stick, because if he taps into a single ounce of his power, it will be damned for eternity.
Yeah. Very, very dangerous poking. Also, I'm not sure if you mentioned this already. The Gaunt's ghosts.
Yep, that's where I was going next.
Okay, good. I'm just way ahead of you. I honestly, I haven't read any of the Gaunt books yet. I watched the interview and about these guys, and I was like, yeah, I think I know what my next audiobook is going to be. Because just I just read the description of these guys in the article. And first of all, the models yet again very well done and very dynamic, except for perhaps Ron is just with a pose hey, I'm gonna murder you at some point. But still, all the descriptions, I was like, I really want to know more about these guys.
Yeah, the only one I've read is First and Only, the very, very, very first Gaunt's Ghost novel. And that was about 10 years ago now.
Is it any good? Because I was wondering if I should get that first.
I enjoyed it at the time. And given it's Gaunt's Ghosts, it clearly must have held up well, considering it got sequel after sequel after sequel. As I recall, 15, 16-year-old Tactica did enjoy it when it was in the school library, because it was a long time ago. I sort of ended up going in the other direction with the Guard. I've read a bit more about Caiaphas Cain and The Last Chances more recently. But I've not really read anything of Gaunt's Ghosts either, so I don't know who these characters are, aside, of course, from Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt.
Yeah.
And I have to say, they do look really, really cool. And it says these are the early Gaunt's Ghosts, so probably if you want to know who they are, you're actually best off reading the first few books, because these are all Tanith natives, minus Gaunt. So you probably want to read the old ones first to know who these guys are. You've got Gaunt, Colonel Corbeck, Major Rawn, Master Sniper Larkin, Try Again Bragg.
I love that description when I read Try Again Bragg. Who? Oh, that's me in every RPG.
And the Scout Sergeant who decided that Illic Night Spear on a plinth wasn't good enough. I decided to stand on a tree so heavily that it completely warps the tree into the floor, because no tree looks like that.
Yeah, it does. I don't give a damn. This tree is now crooked because I want it to be.
Yeah, I really like the armor designs as well, because it's unique. Where you've got, for example, if we take the Scout, he's got knee pads and things like that, and they've all got these camo cloaks. And that las rifle with the wood stock. I'm still looking at the Scout Sergeant. The way they've sculpted the wood into that stock for.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that as well.
It's really, really good. You can really feel, even if you don't know anything about Gaunt's Ghost, and I don't, then Gaunt is a hard-ass leader. Colonel Corbeck is, I'm going to punch you now, and you are going to like it. Again, look at the sculpting on the barrel and the stock of that wood. Rawn will stab you in the back. Larkin is just typical Sniper 101. Bragg, literally, even if you didn't tell me his name, I would probably have nicknamed him Captain Spray and Pray. So Try Again because his accuracy is garbage. Yep, that's about right. And then Captain Sneaky with a sword like that. Yeah, they ooze character.
Yeah, also, did you notice that also the sniper rifle has that same woodwork in there?
Yeah, it's just buried in the camellia line. Yeah. Really, really impressive work by the design team.
Absolutely.
And of course, it wouldn't be the Black Library preview day without some books. And this, in fact, ties in to a lot of Sabbath Worlds stuff. The first being The Vincula Insurgency, a new Gaunt's Ghost novel going back to the early days of the Ghosts, with a mega limited edition, a maybe leather, bound copy of the book with its own sort of unique design on the front, and a separate maps, symbology, and emblems book. Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
With maps, a metal memory box, which is actually an ordnance kit topped towards target. I can't help but think that this is a mine. I know it's not a mine, but that's what it makes me think. A Tanith First badge, a photo. I love that photo. It looks so real.
Yeah, it does. And it carries, even though we don't know the characters, we haven't read the books, but still if I saw that photo, just took it up from the table, I would feel the weight of it. Like,
Yeah,
this means something to someone.
Yeah, like obviously you're more of an artist yourself, and like it looks like an old World War II photo of like the soldiers
Yeah.
at rest after a hard-fought day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why, like, just the composition of the photo, I'm like, oh, these are bros. Not perhaps like they don't like each other like perhaps that much, but they are like family. Family doesn't like each other that much either all the time, but still.
Yeah, and the fact that they call it the ordnance kit is a memory box. It's like you feel
Aw.
like if one of the ghosts were discharged or retired and left to govern, this is after the Vincula campaign. They've got the letter they wrote back to the Tanith they'll never see again after its destruction, the markings of the regiment, the few little trinkets of home, and the photograph on campaign with a few reminders, all encased in this leather hide pouch that almost carries their seal of office from the campaign, and
Yeah.
you feel like if you're not a Warhammer 40,000 person, if you took away like the city map and the Gaunt's Ghost rule pages in there, and you just gave that to someone, you'd feel like you were giving them a soldier's memories, the history
Yeah,
of a
absolutely.
campaign wrapped up in a box.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Just like, even like we might have, like, even if you haven't seen any war movies or anything, but you were given that leathery pouch and you open it and found something like that, the first idea that I would have is like, okay, this is absolutely someone's belongings, someone who has been alive at some point, someone who was in a war, and a genuine person.
And that's testament to the art team and the design team for one. But we've said all of that, and we don't know who the ghosts are.
Yeah.
If you actually like the ghosts, when you sit down and you read that letter and you look through those books, that is going to be such a treasured piece of hobby memorabilia as a limited edition set. Like, I know there's a few of them now, like Hellwinter Gate, Darkness in the Blood, Spear of the Emperor. This one, I reckon, in 30 years' time, this one will be the one that everyone wants.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Just the personality that it oozes and the history.
Yeah. Just like, I just completely agree. I've nothing to add to that.
But if you want more Sabbath Worlds in your life, you can have Sabbath War, which is an anthology with some new stories, including Rachel Harrison, Graham McNeil, John French, and of course Dan Abnett, the man behind the Ghosts and the Sabbath Crusade. A Sabbath Worlds Crusade in-universe reference book, which is an art and lore background book with limited edition tome, with classified documents, and oh my god, that book cover. Look at the embossed cover. What does it say?
Yeah.
Imperator Imperium Sabbath. I can't read the last bit. It's just...
Me neither.
Just, again, it feels real.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just like so happy that so many 40k books have this kind of... They honestly focus on how the book also looks and how it feels, and not just like, okay, it's a book, just like, here, have a whatever. But this is like, okay, we have a book, but then like if you order now, you'll get this, and this. Also, it's pretty. Like, okay, yeah, sure.
It is really impressive.
I love it. Yeah.
There was one more bit of Sabbath Worlds, a Ibram Gaunt bookmark, which I'm assuming has a quote that I don't know, which is assumedly a Gaunt quote. We're riding in the mouth of hell, and we could be among them any minute. Prepare for engagement. Emperor will be with you all. So I'm sure Gaunt said that at some point in a really badass line. I just don't know the quote from anywhere.
So basically, we just have to start reading these books, and whenever we, happen to be on this podcast again together, we can be like, oh my god, Gaunt on that line! Ah!
Shh, maybe so. There's actually another bit of Sabbath Worlds, away from the ghosts. A book called Volpone Glory. Oops, what just happened? A Blue Bloods novel, which is seemingly a new sort of IP within the Sabbath Worlds, by Nick Kime. which again looks really impressive. The armor looks really cool on the
It does.
Blue Bloods. You can tell that they're called Blue Bloods, but like nobility. You can clearly see immediately these are nobles.
Yeah, in comparison to the Gaunt's ghosts that we just saw, is this like, okay, we actually wash ourselves?
Absolutely. And then stepping away from the Sabbath Worlds, we have an Iron Snakes novel called Urdesh, Serpent and the Saints, which apparently is tied to Sabbath Worlds, but it doesn't make it as clear. It says it's the next chapter in the Sabbath Worlds saga. So it is a Space Marines book set within the Sabbath Worlds called Urdesh, Serpent and Saint. And then we got the reveal of Siege of Terror Book 6, which is called Warhawk. Where we've got the counter-offensive of the White Scars against Lion's Gate, a very important spaceport, which is going to see the White Scars take on the Death Guard.
They better go fast.
Well, they're walking up the stairs right into a really nice piece of artwork of Mortarion.
To quote TTS, I hope they have the muscles for it.
And so that's Siege of Terror 6. We'll get to that one day. Obviously, Rem went through Mortis with us a few weeks ago. We then got the next sagas for Warhammer Crime, going back to Varangantua, with Broken City, an anthology, and another anthology called Sanction and Sin.
As a person who loves crime novels, I'm like, yep, gimme.
Yeah, have you read much of Warhammer Crime? Because
I haven't. That's really a shame, because like I've always thought about that would be so cool. And when I first like was informed that there are actually these kind of novels, I was like, but I don't have the time for. Oh goodness, why don't I have the time? But the summer holiday is coming up.
Yep, that's called being a teacher. You don't have time until the holidays.
Indeed.
But yes, there are 15 short stories across those two anthologies and a full Quillen Drask novel, which is a name, I think, from a previous novel in this series called Grim Repast, where he's got to unravel a blasphemous conspiracy using twisted insight gleaned from his tortured past. Ooh.
That screams monologues, tragic backstories, a lot of whiskey, and a film noir.
And I love, again, just coming back to cover art, look at the cover art of like this lone investigator shining a light in shadow as there's a broken down statue of what I can only assume is the Emperor above him, and the city's falling apart. He looks like a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, have you watched Disney's, not like the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Probably when I was about 6.
Well, now you have to thank that 6-year-old you, because remember when Frollo just chases the gypsy woman to the doors of the cathedral and she dies, and then he almost throws Quasimodo into that well before the archdeacon stops him, and when he looks up to the statues of Notre Dame just looking down at him, I get the same feeling from this cover, like this kind of hello.
Yeah, I mean, that particular scene didn't stick with me, but I hear what you're saying, even if I don't know the exact composition of the scene you describe. I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a screenshot for you, but yeah, we can move on.
We then got a couple of more standalone 40k novels. Traitor Rock, which is not a Chaos Space Marine boy band. It is an Imperial Guard novel featuring the Cadian 101st. With a new protagonist called Minka Lesk, which is, I'm assuming she's a lieutenant or a sergeant in the Cadian 101st Regiment.
She at least looks like it.
We then got The Twice Dead King, which is not a Silent King novel, but it is a Necrons novel by Nate Crowley, author of Severed, among other things, with a disgraced Necron lord returning to the court that cast him out to bring news of an Orc invasion, as he has to face down seemingly a threat to the Necron Empire. And there is confirmation of a sequel even before the first one has even hit the shelf.
Nice, that must be a good one then.
Yeah, and I like how you got this sort of degradation of Necron society from this Overlord to Lich Guard to Flayed Ones as you go down the steps, which is quite nice. So Z, I'm sure, will be foaming at the mouth to get his hands on this after, of course, the Blind King.
Also, I found the scene, or, at least the aesthetic.
Right.
Hold on a second. I'm going to send it to you like this.
Okay, that's not the scene I was thinking of. I was thinking of the scene with the gargoyles that come to life and attack him.
Just from the beginning.
Yeah, right.
But you were saying.
And finally, for Black Library, no Age of Sigmar, disappointment, but a confirmation of another Guard novel with the crew of a Lehman Russ demolisher in a book called Steel Tread, with a disparate crew of dysfunctional Cadians with an outsider in command. So that will be interesting if you like your Guard novels. I read Shadow Sword and Baneblade, which focused on the eponymously named tanks. So that might be quite interesting, though we will see if I get time to pick it up. And that was all for Black Library.
Yeah.
And then was Meme Day. Now, I'm going to do Age of Sigmar last because I have a lot of opinions. We're going to do the Boxed Games Day, which is Thursday next. With memes, and memes. Starting off, we had the Idoneth Deepkin, the final warband for Warhammer Underworld's Season 4 Diachasm. Including a Soul Render, who I am definitely converting to do my Shang Tsung conversion. Because it's
do it.
I've had plans for doing Shang Tsung the Soul Render for years now, but the Soul Render model doesn't really fit it because the Talon hook's too long and they have to hold it in their left hand where they're looking to their right and all this, that, the other. This model, I can move the Talon hook to be sort of stood like a huge long staff in their right hand and swap the baby Talon hook for an outstretched hand. And then it's just like, your soul is mine. Done.
Ooh, yes. Besides, Idoneth are the best.
It's what Soul Renders do. They stab you and then they rip your soul out and put it in the lure light. That's what basically. They do. We got an Achillean Knight on foot. I am here for that, because that is canon as of Court of the Blind King. We got a Namati with a throwing spear, which, because it's not magic, they have to pull back with a rope, which I quite approve of.
Get over here if we're continuing these references.
Yep, it's Scorpion. Yep. So we've got Scorpion, we've got Shang Tsung, we've got some guy, and Crab.
Twinklaw is the best. I love it. I want this little. My audio is speaking, but I don't care. I love this little crab. I want that crab.
Yeah. The best one I saw in terms of memes was, remember Flounder and Sebastian from The Little Mermaid?
Oh God! Yes.
Now. Feel old
yet? Yeah. Well, I don't. They apparently do, but still. I love it.
Yes, so the Idoneth are bringing a couple of beasts of war into Beastgrave, that being a giant crab and a giant fish, because of course they did.
Of course, why ever not?
Yes. Necromunda got a confirmation of House Delac's book House of Shadow, including Nacht Ghoul Champions, which are like assassins. Oh god, these things are creepy as all hell.
If that like walked towards me as well, like okay, that Sister of Battle walking towards me, I'm like, okay, I'm scared. That thing walking towards me, I'm just running. I'm not even thinking. I'm running away to the opposite direction. Like nope.
Though, if you want the ultimate nope, might I introduce you to the Psygeist? Accompanied
I'm gonna have bad dreams tonight.
Yeah, these sort of baby psychers, literally baby psychers, with big war suits, accompanied by, and I quote, psychoteric worms and Piscian or Piscian spectors. Child psychers. If you wanted to know how depraved Necromunda was, child psychers.
Yeah, no, just no.
No.
Nope. Like all the directions where these people are coming from, I'm not running there. I'm running to the opposite directions. I don't know how I'm doing it because that's multiple directions, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, and the spectre as well. The floating, it almost looks like a Cthulhu monster, like a mechanical Cthulhu monster.
Yeah,
It's just no.
The design is great, to be sure, but like honestly, that one coming towards me in the evening, regardless of the space where I'm at, nope, just nope.
Also, with that paint scheme and the eyes like that, it kind of makes me think of like corrupted Zenyatta from Overwatch, and I don't know why. Yeah. And I'm going to move on now before I say anything dumb. We then got another trailer for Necromunda Hired Gun, which is going to be in store on June 30th, in case you wanted to know. And Aeronautica Imperialis, they trolled everyone. Plastic Thunderhawk! Except it's a baby tiny plane.
Of course it's small, but still, pew 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 pew.
Yes, so, yes, they finally did it. They did it. They made a Plastic Thunderhawk.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yes, but they did it on Aeronautica scale, so you can't have a Plastic Thunderhawk for your Space Marine army yet. Sorry. And this comes as part of Wrath of Angels, a new expansion or boxed set, I should say, for Aeronautica Imperialis, which brings in the Space Marines with Fire Raptors and the like against the Craft World Eldari. And no, I don't know what the names of the planes are. I'm not good enough at my aircraft. I think it is a Storm Eagle and a Fire Raptor for the Space Marines. The Eldari, I do not have a clue.
They're planes. That's what I know. Some are red, some are green, and the design is different.
Yeah, tiny planes. Basically tiny planes. This is one of the shows I didn't get to watch live, so I didn't get to see all of the details.
Yeah.
But yes, that was meme day. With Plastic Thunderhawks and Crab.
There's Crab. Sebastian, under the sea.
And then Age of Sigmar bookended the week with Monday being the full reveal of the Soulblight Gravelords, which are actually on pre-order this weekend. Saturday the 15th is going to be pre-order day for the Soulblight Gravelords range.
Ooh, cool.
And they got a look at Lorcavai, the Mother of Nightmares, and their unnamed variant, the Vengorian Lord, one of the least practical monsters I have ever seen.
I mean, since when have monsters been practical?
No, but like, my question I have to ask, and maybe I'm just being dumb, is how does this thing move? Because it has hind legs. It's clearly centaur-like, but its front legs, its arms maybe, are ended in wings with giant talons on the end. Like, there's nothing to grip with there. You don't have fingers. So,
well, technically you do, but they're very small and they can't reach anything.
Yeah, I just don't know how this thing stands up. Does it stand on 4 legs? Does it stand on 2 legs? Does it just have to perpetually float and then just hunker down on buildings? I don't get it.
Perhaps it's something like, the Skyrim dragons or drakes or whatever they are. That they, it just has to, fold those wings somehow. Or then just, creepily crawl somewhere.
Possibly. We will see exactly how it works. But either way, it's a very, very intimidating model.
It is.
And we got a look at Radakar the Beast. So Radakar the Wolf was from Cursed City, the cursed game that was Cursed City. And at the end of the game, you killed him, except you didn't. You merely unlocked his second health bar.
Goodness gracious.
It is a very big and very chunky boy. Very intimidating. I like it.
Also, I love that goblet over there. Hey, thanks for the blood.
Agreed. And we then got, continuing on Radakar's line, the animalistic Verkos dynasty. You get the eldest of their line, which is Belladama Volga, which is a Cossack vampire riding side saddle on a ginormous wolf.
As you do.
As you do.
I love the fact that there is both, she has this proper fur on her shoulders, and then there's just... I think those are shoulder pads, those wing-like things.
Yeah.
And, she's there okay, I'm all warm and cozy, but I'm not wearing shoes because I have wolf legs.
Yeah. And speaking of wolves, shall we introduce you to the redesign of the dire wolves?
Ooh, yeah. Details, so many details.
This kit was ancient. Thank goodness they've updated it.
How was it? I haven't seen the ancient one.
It's very old. I had a friend who did the dire wolves, but they used cornate flesh hounds in.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was the other way around. They used dire wolves to make flesh hounds because they didn't like the old flesh hounds before the plastic ones were done. Dire wolves, Warhammer. What did they look like? Actually, they weren't as. They're not as bad as I was making out at all. They just looked a lot more fleshy compared to these ones.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
These look more like undead wolves versus fleshy amalgamations that happen to look like wolves.
Okay, this is just like Resident Evil. This old one.
So these guys are a battle line option, and one thing they talked about, which I think is really quite nice, is the different directions that the Soulblight Gravelord's army can go in terms of composition. Because if you want to play it like classic vampire counts with ranks of skeletons and noble vampire knights and things like that, you can absolutely do that. Or you could go for the wolf pack with Radikar, the Virkos, and Direwolves, which are battle lines. You could use them as your core option. Or you could go for sort of a menagerie of monsters with things like the Vengorian Lord, the Zombie Dragon, the Terrorgeist, the Varskir, the new one, and then your sort of shambling horde is going to be the Deadwalker zombies.
So basically a cavalcade of death and destruction and scary things.
Yeah, if it goes bump in the night, then it's probably a Soulblight.
Yeah. So remember, kids.
Yeah, it's a really, really good range redesign. As much as I'm not tempted to buy them. I'm very lucky that as much as I adore Blood Knights, I'm not overly tempted to buy them because, well, elves. They are.
Give them pointy ears, and we're like, ooh.
Well, bear in mind, I have got 4 different elf armies, so I'm saying
Tactica,
nothing.
you might have a problem.
Well, at least they're not all red. Like, for a long time, everything I painted was just red. Now I'm painting different things. And I have got a Slanesh army. Hang on, that's not getting myself out of the hole here. Just saying I have a Slanesh army. That's not helping.
I mean, elf-related things.
Yeah. But that was not the biggest reveal of Age of Sigmar in the literal sense. No. That goes to the new God of Destruction. Well, one of them. Kragnos, the god of earthquakes.
Oh, yeah. That is one badass looking model.
Oof.
Really? Oof.
I mean, yeah, in a good way. Oof.
Okay, good oof. I was there like, wait, what? Now you have to... What?
I really like Kragnos. The only thing that I find odd is I was fully expecting that Kragnos, before we got any of these reveals, was going to be for the Kenothi, which is the elves with the centaurs who sort of tie into the Sylvaneth, because there was a centaur-like creature cloaked in shadow, and I just sort of assumed this was going to be for Kenothi. It's not. It's for destruction. And Kragnos is the last survivor of an ancient race who was sealed away by Lord Croak back in the time of the Age of Myth, if not before. And the Broken Realms have freed him, and he's going on a destruction rampage and will be the herald of what we're going to talk about in about 5 minutes. And yeah.
Also, here's a centaur with which we know how this thing walks.
Yes, we do. I think my favourite thing about this model, it's really nice. I like the fact it's got alternate head options. I think the pose is really fitting. My favourite thing is absolutely the shield, because...
I was just about to say that. Yeah, the shield. Yes, the detail.
The detail for one, but also, what is it made from? Because...
yes.
because it kind of reminds me of verdigreed copper. Like a old, almost rusted copper.
Yeah, true.
But that would be really quite flimsy if it was copper oxide. And we know it's not. It's called the Shield in Violet, that can literally negate spells super easily.
Could it be Jade?
Jade is the other one that came to my mind. And also, you want to know how powerful the thing is? It chipped the tooth of Gorka Morka.
Yeah, that's not copper.
Yeah. So it's a really cool shield. I like the whole and it's so rustic, which fits destruction down to a T. Like destruction, like the alignment chart in AOS is not good guys, bad guys, smashy guys, dead guys. It's sort of neutral, likes to live in cities, evil, dead, but also evil, and likes to smash things. So if you live in a city, destruction will flatten it. Doesn't matter who owns it, whether it's order, chaos, or death, destruction will flatten it. They don't do advanced, they don't do civilized, and this rustic design is really, really good for them.
Absolutely, agreed, 100%. And is that a centaur that they're depicting in the shield as well?
Him.
Yeah, him. That's what I thought.
Yeah, so the main bit of admin is that Kragnos will be available to be taken in all destruction armies, including this menagerie army that they show of Iron Jaws, Mega Gargants, Ogres, and I don't think there's any Gloomspite there, but this idea of a menagerie destruction, there's a Trog. This sort of mixed destruction is something that I think they might try and push a little, but Kragnos can lead that, or he can be part of any other destruction factions army, which is really nice.
It is.
And Broken Realms Kragnos will also bring the rules for the Witch Hunter father-daughter pairing, Lord Croak, the Voice and Talon of Slanesh, which I have eulogized over at length, and the new Warsong Revenant, the new Sylvaneth flute player.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that, like, how do you take that model from one place to another without breaking it?
The same way you take St. Celestine from one place to another. Very, 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 very carefully.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, with things like between like the Eidolon of Matlin and, well, everything to do with everything on an Ideneth cavalry, moving things around from place to place, GW are getting better at making models less spindly. Though I saw Neve, Arsenic Typhoon, talking about like how spindly the legs of the Corvus Cabal were a few weeks ago. So they haven't quite got it down, but I get the feeling. I get the feeling the leaf cloak will have like 4 contact points as well to help keep it balanced.
I hope so.
It's a really cool design, though.
It is. I really like it.
Yeah, and Kragnos himself, if you like, the Broken Realms were the herald for, as a lot of people were predicting, Age of Sigmar's 3rd edition.
Woohoo! Yes!
So it is worth pointing out at this time, there was nothing for Horus Heresy. I know a lot of people were hoping for a revamp of the Horus Heresy boxed game, and I admit I was too. The tabletop getting a new box game or a new rulebook or something like that. I admit I was hopeful of that, but they've decided not to do that. They did say, however, there will be 2 further reveals in the month of May in terms of streams. So probably one of them will be...
crossed.
Yeah, probably one of them will be all about AOS 3. The other might be more mixed with the rest of the Orc range, because they say they've only revealed half of the new Orcs so far. So they might decide to do Orcs and Horus Heresy in one of those streams. I don't know.
Yeah, well... You never know, and I said fingers crossed.
Agreed. But AOS 3 brings us to Gur, the Realm of Beasts, fittingly enough, given Destruction are going to be kind of the big bad of the edition. And I love, they talked about this in the lore before, but look at the design of the continents of Gur.
Yeah, like, that looks... It's like they're at war with each other, like, constantly.
They are.
Just like, yeah, but just like... They're just attacking each other. They're like beasts.
Yeah, they do. Literally, the lands will consume the other land masses. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And it's
that
really
looks cool.
And model-wise, we only got to see 3 new units revealed. Well, 1 unit and 2 models. And they all were for the Stormcast Eternals. My hopes of a Cities of Sigmar boxed game against Destruction have been dashed. pretty much, I expect.
Well, that happens from time to time.
As we got a look at Indrasta. Now, this is, you may remember I mentioned earlier about models doing badass heroic poses but not battle poses. This is one of them. But the Celestial Spear, who has also got some really cool accompanying artwork, is Sigmar's Chief Huntress. And it's basically AOS Sanguinius, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I saw on, I think it was on Twitter, a meme about, have you seen the video Eliphas made in which it was something like Saint Celestine and Saint Celestine's fan club, like, oh my god, Saint Celestine! And one of them asked her, like, are you Gentiswap Sanguinius from my fanfic? No, this one is. But yeah, this is absolutely a heroic pose that not kind of like with a certain High Lord that is there like just doing what she has to do. This one is like, hello, I'm here. Look at me, I have wings.
Yeah, her artwork has a very much in the Sanguinius pose of the Sanguinius model with the spear. But
yeah,
it's the reason that it's not just because it's Sanguinius goes, hey, look, wings, but also spear and sword, winged angels, just like, it's so sang. But she looks really cool, and I definitely do like the model. And she will be joined by the, what are they called? The Vindictors, I think is their name. Yes, Vindictors.
Also, I'm so stealing that "that's so sang" line from you.
Fair enough. Yes.
But yeah, do go on.
The Vindictors. Basically, these are Stormcast spearmen, because they had hammers, they had swords, they had great hammers, and they had great swords, but this is the first time we've seen Stormcast infantry with a spear. And can I just point out, for this particular one model, we saw a few later, but this one, like, just, if you told someone this was a sort of a Roman legionary with a fancy hat. But, like,
a very good description.
But it looks so much like a Roman auxilia spearman, not like a classic legionary with the tower shield, but like a Roman auxilia troop is just like yeah, it's so nice. And they did use the word phalanx, so good phalanx.
Yeah.
But the other models that they showed off are very much designed in action poses, running, stabbing, that sort of thing. And one thing I noticed is you can quickly identify on Stormcast the men and women of the Stormcast because they've given the men segmented chest plating.
Yeah, true.
But the women don't.
Which I think is very refreshing because, like, as a person who owns a pair of boobs, if you try to separate them like that, okay, fine, whatever. But if you, for instance, like, this is a like forever discussion. If you, for example, try to hit a woman to a chest, if that you have the boob plate, of course the sword or whatever is going to slide towards the heart because there is an opening there, quote unquote. With this, you have enough. This feels like let's say, okay, the boob plate feels like a fancy bra. This here is a sports bra, much better for activities that require you to do some, for example, running. And I'm like, yes.
Fair enough. Yep, you are much more qualified to speak on that than me, so I'm just going to leave that there because I do not have a follow-up.
And like every single person who hasn't had an experience, there you go. Now you know.
But either way, the Vindictors look really cool. We've got some bareheaded options, a few different helm options as well. And then from Roman legionaries to Greek demigods of I'm going to bash your face with the Annihilator. Oh, I adore this model.
That shield is badass.
Also, if you get hit by their hammer, you are going to have the twin-tailed comet embossed into your face.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out, I was watching the stream last night, it kind of, the armor kind of takes inspiration, in their head at least, took inspiration from, I need to go find it, the original Warhammer 40,000 Terminator armor.
Really? Cool. I'm not sure if I've seen the original ones, but still. Now that you mention it, it does seem a wee bit familiar. Oh yeah, now I can see it. Yep, absolutely.
I might have to throw a side by side onto the screen if I get time, just to show you what I mean.
Yeah.
But it really, like the sort of crenellated shoulder pads going that far up. It has sort of echoes of the original 40k Terminator armor.
It does.
Now, this presents me with a huge quandary because I have quite a lot of Stormcast. I did my Une Ville appelée Malus project, Town called Malice, while I was in France. And I have a decent-sized Stormcast army that I built up at the end of AOS 1.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it, but I stopped playing them in AOS 2 because elves. And I wasn't too fussed with all the new magic ones, like the Sacrosanct Chamber. Like, the Evocators were nice, the Dracolines were nice, the Taurolon was nice, but I wasn't too fussed, and there were elves. This model, like the Annihilator and Indrasta, is making me think, oh no, do I need to go back to the Stormcast again for a bit? And I'm like, no, resist.
Look into your wallet. You cannot do this to yourself.
No, there's already your Lumineth are not done. Your daughters are not done. Your Ideneth are not done. Your cities are not done. Your Slanesh, you've got like 3 models painted. Don't. No. Resist. But then you look at that shield and you look at the spear design, the Auxilia design, and you look at Indrasta and you're like, oh no. So I'm going to have to very much resist on getting one of these.
Yep.
They did also put out a short teaser trailer of something called Stay Out of the Mire. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it.
I watched it part way. And I really like it. I like the, yet again, art style, like it. And I've always had a thing for this kind of telling a story around the campfire. I like the whole idea of it. So I was like, this is nice.
And it's the teaser for whatever the next army is. Now, it's a brand new faction. We know that. And a few people were like, please be Fimir, please be Fimir, please be Fimir. The common consensus seems to be that it's some sort of goblins, like swamp goblins, seems to be the consensus given the sheer amount of evil beady eyes in the forest.
Yeah, indeed.
But we shall see exactly what form that takes, because the Gloomspite Gits hoovered up night goblins and spider riders, but things like the original forest goblins and wolf riders and those sorts of things were left alone. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what this army does in terms of, is it goblins? Is it some new breed of creature we've never seen before? That would be nice.
That would be very nice.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too much into AOS 3 rules deep dives here because they didn't say much aside from they're introducing something called core battalions. Okay. And they're changing the interactions between command points and double turn, which hopefully will mean double turn is less OP. We will see exactly what form that takes.
If it is very OP, I hope that they can, send some additional rules to, correct the issue.
Because AOS 2, as a rules set, is generally quite tight. It's not like, I'm not saying sit here and say 40k was unbalancedly awful, but AOS 2 was generally considered to be in a very good place game balance wise. Now, obviously, that doesn't account for all the armies that came out during lockdown because they're very undertested. Things like Lumineth, Slanesh, the New Daughters, and things like that are very much undertested in terms of being exploited and broken. But it's generally considered that the core rules of AOS 2 were in a decent spot. So I suspect, especially given that they rewrote War Scrolls inside Broken Realms for Marathi, the Leviathan, they've got Be'lakor, obviously. They've rewritten Alariel's inside Broken Realms Kragnos. They are obviously only fine-tuning. This is not going to be a sweeping reform like 40k 8th or AOS 2 was. This is going to be very much a tightening up, kind of like 40k 9th was, where they tweak a few things, add a couple of new mechanics, and they seem really confident in the rule set, to which I say, well, we'll give it a month and see what happens, shall we?
Yeah. We'll see indeed.
And 1 hour and 20 minutes into the show, we have officially cleared Warhammer Fest. Good grief, that took a long time, but it's completely fine. It's one of those
like everything was so short in that Warhammer Fest, but we have quite a lot of things to say.
Yeah, it's like we've spent about how long was the show? It was about 3 hours. So we spent about half the length of the entirety of Warhammer Fest's preview streams just reviewing the thing.
True.
Which is a thing. What else was there that we haven't already mentioned? I think we've got most of it.
Yeah.
Oh, there was the Bubblegum Brigade of Orcs, which was like Bubblegum Orc Armor type thing. That was from a while ago. Necromunda Hive War, looking at the box game that's got Delac in it. Lumineth in Warcry. White Dwarf covers on a t-shirt. That's a thing now.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want some classic White Dwarfs, there are 150 White Dwarf covers that you can have printed on a shirt. And it's not the cover art. It's not like the image that was used on White Dwarf. No, it's got the White Dwarf logo and everything.
Nice.
Like right down to and including the barcode. It's still got the barcode.
That's amazing. That's I think that's a very unique concept. Not many people leave it there.
Yeah. It's cool either way. It's not for me, but it is quite cool. And they say, they will be adding more later. But we're up to, they've got about a third of all White Dwarf covers are available because they've got about 150 out of 463. So not bad. What else was there? White Dwarf is out. 463 itself is actually out this month. I think that's on this week's pre-orders as well. That's got the Fallen in it. I think there's an Index Astartes on the Fallen in there, which is quite nice.
It is.
Broken Realms Fiction, Plot Review, Necromunda Hive War, and the Savage Orc Warband out or on pre-order this week. And oh yes, the return of Golden Demon and in-person Warhammer events.
Oh yeah, woo! Actually seeing people, that would be nice.
Yes, so Golden Demon...
And no, I'm not counting students as people.
Wasn't going to say it. So...
Yeah, that's for the Finnish people. Love you, dearies.
Yes, so Golden Demon will be back in 2022. There will be 2 Golden Demon events, one in the UK, and the other will be at Adepticon. Adepticon, as I recall, normally falls around the middle of the year. So that will be next. So there'll be about 12 months. Actually, it was Adepticon was when they revealed the Eidnes. So it's only about March, April Adepticon. So it's it's just under a year until Golden Demon hits the US. But if you want to go to the US or you're in the US, then there will be, and I quote, the Warhammer Roadshow USA.
That sounds. With all the love and respect, that sounds so American.
Yes, so there will be 4 tournaments on a bit of a road trip across Orlando, Florida, New Orleans, Austin, Texas, and then finally Los Angeles. Is it LA?
Yeah, LA, Los Angeles, I think.
Yes, it will. So you do the first 3 tournaments in the first 3 events, and if you get through, you qualify to the finals, which are in Los Angeles, at the brand new Warhammer store and cafe that is there, opening in June. And as a bonus, it will be Warhammer 9th rules, and it will be some of the first in the world to use 3rd edition AOS. So clearly 3rd edition will be out in, normally it's about July. So I'm guessing this will be, it doesn't say exactly what date it will be, but I'm guessing it will be around autumn, August, September. I think is probably when these events will take place.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, because they said that they've made sure they're still going to have social distancing with the safety precautions, and Forge World miniatures will be on sale, as well as other things at each event, which is great.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, and I think that means we have now... Oh, one other thing. There is a new range of brushes available.
Oh, yes! I almost forgot about that. I was like, yeah, even though I don't paint models, I could just, buy those and just paint other things.
Yes, so they are synthetic brushes, the STC Citadel brushes, which are, and I will quote this here because I don't know my brushes very well, by using totally synthetic bristles, you get a different painting experience because they have a noticeable springiness with stiffness and snapback, making them candidates for dry brushing and highlighting edges, which I'm assuming means that, it says they will keep their profile for longer when used frequently, and they are made to prevent curling at the end of the bristles. So they're sort of supposed to be like more durable but less flexible brushes for doing those sharp edges and things like that. And I get it, because I feel like my small layer brush, my Citadel one, I feel like I seem to be replacing it every couple of months if I use it regularly, because the ends just fray and bend, even if I'm taking good care of it, because I'm just using it so much.
And this is actually something I can give some input to as well from the other side of the artistic world, not just miniature painting. If you're doing, for example, I like to do watercolor paintings, having natural hair on the brush really keeps the water in, but it is very soft. The movement is very soft, and it's not that. With miniature painting, you need there to be some stiffness, especially if you're doing details. Otherwise, it'll be just all over the place unless you can control kind of your brush. So in this fact, or when you're looking at this kind of, or miniature painting, looking at this from this point of view, very good that they have added this kind of stiffness so that they can honestly be used for detail work. And as you said, they won't, hopefully at least, you don't have to go and buy a new one just once per month or something like that. They look very good, and I hope that they are very, very good.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that one. Very good to keep their brushes going for as long as possible, because it means spending less money.
Indeed, and to every single one of you, regardless of what you paint, take care of your brushes. If you don't, they will either just dry up with the paint and you can never get that out, or then they will just, all the hairs on them will just go to every single direction you don't want them to go, and that's just it, and it's ruined.
Yep, I've had that happen a few times because I'm still not very good at carrying the brushes.
Naughty, naughty you.
I try.
Well, it's a process.
Aye. Right. So, this is the part normally where we'd ask for a bit of a book review, but unfortunately I've read a grand total of one chapter this last fortnight because I've been teaching. And so I have not had a chance to do much reading. I've decided I'm going to read Stormvault, which is one of the AOS novels. It's got a mix of destruction, death, chaos, and order in it, rather than going for the End of Enlightenment, because I think I need to take a break from elves for a little bit.
It's like you have a lot of them or something.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, the only quote-unquote reading I've done has been an audiobook, if we don't count, grammar books or something like that. An audiobook about Jeeves and Worcester, the Jeeves books, very old ones. But I think my next 40k related book that I'm going to go with might have something to do with Gaunt.
Yeah, I think, especially after everything we saw earlier today, I think...
Yeah, absolutely.
The ghosts have caught your interest.
Yes, they haunt me. Pun very much intended. Yes, I got to use that.
Right. So let's have a look at a few questions. We'll go through, I'm not sure we'll go through all of them because some of them are bits of lore so obscure that you need a Remlaze to answer them. But we will do what we can. So,
I promise to say I don't know to a lot of them, but I will try my very best.
That's fair. So the top comment question says, in the 8th edition Thousand Suns Codex and the Ritual of the Damned Psychic Awakening book, we are told of a warband called the Blades of Magnus, who tried to free Magnus' soul from Tzeentch and were almost successful, meaning that Magnus was forced to obliterate most of their souls and possess their bodies for war. It's stated some of them survived, and other Thousand Suns warbands have similar objectives of striking back and freeing themselves from the control of the Chaos Gods. The question is, do you see this plot line going anywhere? Would you like the idea of the Thousand Suns becoming a renegade legion, but not necessarily a Chaos Legion or a legion devoted to Tzeentch?
A very good question. In my opinion, perhaps with something like a little group of people getting out of there, but in a grander scale, no, because otherwise that would mean that, well, I wouldn't say regular, but still some quote-unquote human beings would be able to do something to the Chaos Gods, and that would really much undermine them as gods.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I really do like the idea, though, of trying to do a TTS Emperor and steal Magnus's soul out from Tzeentch.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that as well. Wait, go ahead.
I do think it'll be interesting to see if they do take it somewhere. I think the most they do with that plot thread really is just, hey, they tried it. Unless they give them like an Index Astartes where they use slightly different, like they can only have a few heroes, and they can't use Tzeentchian spells. They have their own unique spell, psychic power law, because they can't use like Tzeentch's Firestorm or anything because, you know, they've kind of betrayed Tzeentch at this point.
Kind of, sorta.
And they can't use Magnus in their army, but they've all got this extra fervor and stuff like that. They're more experimental. I don't know. I think the most I think we'd ever see with it is a Index Astartes article in White Dwarf. I don't think they'd take any further than that. Cool as the concept may be, I think you are right that having humans being able to trick and job out the Chaos Gods is a no-go.
Yeah, so, yeah, agreed. Cool, but no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That is a very long question and probably requires about an essay's worth of planning. If you had the chance to rewrite the entirety of Warhammer Fantasy's End Times, how would you do it? Oof. That's
a very small question indeed.
A very small question. And I think, realistically, the biggest... I didn't read the main End Times, to be honest. I'd kind of tuned out. But I think the biggest issue with the End Times is that if you're going to end the world, then you've got to end the world sort of by showing that it wasn't just, Archaon just needed the right time to do it.
Yeah.
It needed to be that the races tore themselves apart and chaos swept them up. And I think that may have been elements of what happened with the whole wars on Ulthuan in Kane, in terms of like Tyrion, Teclis, and Malekith and Marathi all kind of swapping sides around and going to war with each other, leading to the Widowmaker and the Eternity King. But it kind of the short ending of and they all died because Archaon was too OP is not the ending you want to end on. And yes, I know the resurrection of Nagash was important and stuff like that. I don't know. I really think that, especially given it has to now lead into Sigmar, I think it would be better if, or possibly maybe an idea is to have Nagash be sort of an off-screen thing. Like Nagash doesn't fight. He's there. Or maybe when they create the Incarnate of Death, because they made the Incarnate of all the winds, that ends up that Incarnate is actually Nagash, is possessed by Nagash, and that's how Nagash survives into Age of Sigmar, rather than anything else. I don't know. I don't know the End Times well enough to really propose a full rewrite, but that's just a few spitballs.
Yeah, that kind of, I very much agree with you. This kind of, I haven't read the whole thing myself either, but it kind of felt like, well, in the role-playing world, we would call it a rocks fall, everyone dies. And that's it. And I really would have liked to, I would like to see in these kind of scenarios where the world is ending, that it is not just, as you said, just about one person like, okay, now I have had that time of my life and now I'm ready and ta-da, that's that. But people and different nations just like tearing each other apart or tearing themselves apart. And it's a whole conundrum and just it's fail after fail after fail that leads to this end of the world. And not just like, hey, I was fast enough, yay!
Yeah, something like that, definitely. Right. Since it's actually quite fitting given that they were teased at Warhammer Fest, do you believe we will ever get Primaris Grey Knights? Whoops.
Would be cool. I'm not gonna lie, would be cool. because I would like to see this kind of, because I'm as a homebrew of the week hostess, I've seen so many chapters that are like, we have, well, primaris, however you want to say it. I say primaris. I've seen so many chapters that are like, oh my god, primaris, no, oh, ew, there's kind of new boys in town. Oh, I don't like them. And of course, some of them are
Pedro Cantor.
yeah, yeah. So I would like to see what would happen if that were the case. I don't think that would like ever happen, but still, it would be interesting to see the reaction, the canonical reaction in some story of like, hey, here we have some primaris. You okay there?
Yeah, sorry, you said, here are some primaris, and then you stopped. And I was like, did you cut out? Or were you just leaving that hanging for me? And I was like, I didn't know what to do.
No. Just the whole thing was like, it would be interesting to see the canon reaction of these, the actual people to these new primaris brothers, so to say, and that's that.
You do see a little bit of it in, for example, the Dante books, like Dante's in the Blood, where Gabriel Seth basically acknowledges, yeah, these are our replacements. And he knows it. He knows that the primaris are a replacement to the firstborn, and he admits it.
Yeah, true.
And especially with the Blood Angels being as decimated by the devastation of Baal as they were, they're vastly outnumbered by the primaris now. The old guard is still there, but a lot of them are gone. And
yeah.
But as to the exact thing with Grey Knights, I think there's a problem with primaris Grey Knights, and it's not, oh my god, you can't have it. It's, how do you get the gene seed?
Yeah, that's the kind of a logistical issue in that sense.
Because it's not even just logistics of, hey, Grey Knights, can we have some gene seed? It's like, Call doesn't... The Grey Knight gene seed is outright stated pretty much as not belonging to any particular Primarch. It certainly doesn't belong to any particular one, like Magnus, for example. It's either chimeric, or it's psychically crafted, or it's a unique batch straight from the Emperor, whoever knows what. And
so yeah, it would be very different to work on where you to do Primaris Marines out of it.
Yes, and Call doesn't have that data.
Oh, yes, very true. I didn't even think about that.
So Call would have to... He knows the Grey Knights exist because Voldus in the Terran Crusade. So he knows they exist. But unless the Grey Knights gave Call their DNA and gene seed and let him tinker, which would be a terrible idea because it's Call.
Yeah, true.
The Grey Knights would have to say, no, you give us 50 tech priests and all the technology that you have, and we will work this out eventually. It leaves it very open to risk, I think. Because
very true.
And the fact the Grey Knights do what they do, they have to be genetically perfect. That sounds really weird. They have to be flawless in terms of their immunity to corruption in order to do their job on the daily. And any flaws in their gene seed, any defections in their psychic ability, anything in their psycho-indoctrination and the implantation of the new organs that make the Primaris what they are, if that doesn't gel with Grey Knight ideology right away, then they won't use them.
True. Very true.
And then they'd have to say to Call, also, we need all your STCs from your vehicle pool. We also need those because they don't fit in our Land Raiders and Rhinos anymore. We need new things. Also, we need to design a new Dread Knight, and we need a better Dreadnought because your Redemptor is going to kill them. We need something different. And it's like, I don't know how... It's such a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
As you said, for a host of different reasons.
Very true, very true.
But we will see.
Yeah, indeed. I'm waiting eagerly.
Absolutely, won't be long. So, Would you rather read a book based on the Age of Myth in Age of Sigmar, the Unification Wars, the War in Heaven, I'm assuming that's the Necron one, the Eldar Necron Old Ones one, or a breakout in the vault? That's a really interesting one to throw in on the end. A breakout from the vaults of Trazen the Infinite. I swear that the first three are like mythical things from days gone by, and then just a random comedy sketch running through Trazen's vaults. Because I suppose you would see all the history on the way out.
With that description, absolutely the last one. I would so like to, like, that can go either to, like, to that kind of, Benny Hill kind of, okay, let's try to run away from here. Or then it could go also to the kind of Dark Souls route of you just wake up somewhere and you're not sure where you are and you just get some random bits of lore. But, of course, you don't just keep respawning. You just have to get out of there.
Well, maybe you do keep respawning. It's Trazen.
Oh, true. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, yes. Please, give us that book. Yeah, that one. I don't care which version. Even a combined version, I'll read that.
Yeah, because the thing about... I think for me, I'd love to read more about the Unification Wars. I think for me, it's the Unification Wars. Because the Age of Myth, the clue's in the name. It is a mythical age where gods walked among men and elves and Duardin and Orcs and everything else. It is a time of pantheons, of prosperity, of titanic wars, yes, between the gods. But the realms were, in many ways, a paradise. It would be kind of boring. Like, you might get one book where Sigmar is sat above the Anvil of Apotheosis, reflecting on how he came to be, who he is, and where he is. And you do the key dates. The meeting with Gorkamorka, where he breaks Gorkamorka out of the Amber. Or the one where he meets Morathi for the first time, or he meets Malerion for the first time, and they build the Sigmarabulum. The one where he brokers a deal with Nagash, and then the Battle of Burning Skies, where Nagash sells him out and doesn't come to help him against Chaos. One book is enough to flash through the Age of Myth, and that would be enough.
The Memoirs of Sigmar.
Yeah. And the War in Heaven, well, it's the War in Heaven. It's 60 million years ago. No one understands it anymore. And I don't think canonizing any of it would work. Like the heresy, it's been all right. Canonizing the heresy is because it is the direct setup to everything that we have in 40k. The War in Heaven was a gigantic war, to be sure, but it was 65 million years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, so it's like there's no... Well, I'm not sure, of course, but at the moment we don't have proper descriptions, at least in the world, so that people would have seen them, like what happened. So if someone were to write a book about this, yeah, go ahead. You don't have any like background information. Go wild. Okay, you do have some, but go wild. But if you were to base something on like the knowledge that we already have, then yeah, Age of Myth would be that one book. War in Heaven, go wild. Unification Wars, I think that and the breakout from the Vaults of Treason. Yeah, those two.
Yeah, because the Unification Wars, we have just enough tidbits about the end of the wars as the legions were first unleashed. A little bit on the Thunder Warriors, a little bit about the aftermath with Ararat.
Yeah.
And we know enough about, I know tiny snippets of Old Night, the AI Uprising, the Techno-Barbarians, the fall of religion with the Last Church. There is just enough seeds there that you could explore it in full. Maybe it would only be like, say, 5 books like this, or maybe 8 books like Siege of Terror, or 10 books like The Beast Arises. Not like the 30, 50 book epic that was the Horus Heresy. But
yeah, no, at least but
there's enough,
from my opinion, no.
There's enough to like watch the Paradise of Terror fall apart as Old Night sets in, and then jump cut to the coming of the Emperor, and then jump cut to, as he arrives and he meets with Malgador and the Perpetuals. They go to Molech, and the Emperor sets his vision out, and they work in secret, crafting the Custodians, hodgepodging the Thunder Warriors, and then unleashing them. there's enough there to actually craft a narrative and sort of get into the Emperor's head. Granted, I only really trust Aaron Dembski-Bowden to write it, but it gives you a way to get into the Emperor's head and sort of see his rationale for why the Thunder Warriors were made so expendable, why the Astartes were made the way they were, why the Custodes were made the way they were, what his plan was, whether the Golden Throne was always the idea, and whether Primarchs were always the idea, or he realised he needed a new army after going to Molech and realising just how puny humanity was. I don't know. I want to get in his head. He's the Emperor.
No, everyone wants to get in his head.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, those 2 books, absolutely. Give them to us. We'll read.
What books would you recommend for someone who hasn't read anything and likes Necrons? The Infinite and the Divine would be a good place to start.
Yep.
And if you want to see something with Necron antagonists, there's the Mephiston series, because the second book in there has Necrons, but it does have a lot of sort of stuff you just need to understand. You've got Damnos, if you want to watch Necrons being badasses, and then Knights of Macragge, if you want to watch Necrons being sneaky, which is an odd thing to say, Necrons being sneaky, but there you go.
Well, I think that's a very good description of it.
Yeah. That's one I'm going to answer with Rem, because that's such a me and Rem question. I'm going to save that one.
Fair enough.
If you could decide the centerpiece model, like think Gilliman, think Mortarion, think the Silent King, think the new High Lord, think whatever, Gazkul, for those 40k armies that are missing one, what would you give them? So they give us some examples like Drakari need one, Tau need one, Tyranids need one. I think Craft Worlds probably need a new one because the Wraith Knight just ain't it, Chief, which would probably be an Avatar redesign. But what sort of centerpiece model? Because obviously those who know TTS will know you as the voice of Lady Malice.
Oui, naturellement, of course it should be Lady Malice. But honestly, I think it would be Vect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For Drakari, it's Vect on the Days of Destruction. I think it has to be.
Yeah. Would be cool though, because usually they have some, small little details, perhaps some other characters there on the bigger models. A sneaking Lady Malice in the background, like you gonna get it.
Yeah, but would you really accept having Lady Aurelia Maris herself basically being a cameo sideshow on the base of Vect?
Of course not.
Exactly.
I'm a show as I am. Just these, whatever. I don't know English, I just know French. But yeah, honestly, if I had to be frank, it would so be Vect. Just looking, smirking at people. Would be cool to see him in a, fighting pose, but most likely he would be just sitting there, laid back, I got this all figured out.
Absolutely. I think for the Tau, the problem with Tau is all of their characters are commanders, and commanders, as a rule, go on small spaces. They have small suits, XV85s, Shadow Suns, XV22. The commanders don't generally walk around in ghost keels or riptides or anything like that. So they'd either have to make a sort of grand ethereal, like the new ethereal supreme after Round Va, and properly go all in on the Space Pope stuff.
True.
Or,
I have an idea as well, but please tell yours first.
Well, the other one for me is creating a new super heavy battle suit for commanders. Maybe, for example, those who are sort of the more Montcar obsessed, but are having trouble dealing with the heavy armor, like knights and things like that. They get themselves a specifically designed Monster Hunter suit, which is designed to go toe-to-toe with the heavy beasts and fortifications rather than relying on others to do it for them. But that's not Tau's way. So, I don't know. Sorry, you were going to say something.
Picture this. Power Rangers.
Megazord.
Yes! What? You
Just,
said they don't have anything particular, that is so grand and great, so why don't they just join their forces?
I mean, a 5-cast Megazord where you've got, like, a fire cast with the gun, a water cast with the shield, air cast wings, earth cast for the legs, and then the ethereal cast for the head. It's just like, oh god, it's literally a
You can see it. You can see it, can't you?
Luckily, the other 3 casts don't particularly like going to war. They leave the fire cast to do that. So mercifully, the 5-cast 1-people Megazord is probably unlikely. But I'm annoyed at the fact that I can rationalize a classic 5-piece Megazord within 3 seconds. Oh, no.
And there you go. Even though Ramles is not here, I'm just doing my part for the head desks.
Dear, oh dear. Right.
Tyranids, any ideas for that?
I mean, more giant whack-off monsters is easy. I'd love to see a model for a Norn Queen, but I know they're way too big.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I think it would be really cool to... I think something like... They've got serpent-like creatures already in the Trigon and the Morlock and the Ravagers. I think that they would probably be best going with some sort of... Because it's got to be a leader as well. So it can't just be like a Titanic ram beast or gunboat. It's got to be a leader. And I think, for me, I'd like to... I'm taking a bit of inspiration here from Marathi, actually. Like, combine the elements of the Tyranids from the serpentine and the winged creatures and then the heavy weapons to have some sort of flying serpent creature. I can picture the sort of thing I mean in my head.
That would be cool.
Like a coiled snake with wings, but instead of like Marathi, where it's an elf on top of a snake, it goes all the way up to be fully serpentine all the way up. But with wings, titanic bat-like wings that can propel it over short distances and then tuck in when it dives and digs. And it's maybe got either a bioweapon, a biocannon on its back over its head. It's got biocannons, and or it's got blades. Like sort of like the Harridan and the Hive Crone and stuff do with and the Harpy with a bladed underbelly, where you combine biocannons with wings with snake and then give it arms as well so that it can kind of do everything, and you make kind of like think like the Swarm Lord's arms on the Trigon's body, but with Flyrant wings. And then an exocrine cannon on the back, and then scale it up by about 30%.
You're listening to this Games Workshop? We want this.
It sounds like it probably wouldn't work, and I need someone to probably concept art it. So if there's a concept artist who's seen that and thinks I want to draw that, please go ahead and at me on Twitter. But
you'll have to write this description for down for me. I'll try.
Maybe so. Right. What time are we? Oh, blimey. 1 hour 55.
Almost
already.
2 hours.
Right, let's see if we can find one more. There's a guest request. We answered a fair few of those in the comments. Okay. In the Farsight novel Crisis of Faith, it is mentioned that Gevesa are allowed to maintain a version of faith in the God Emperor, albeit without the xenophobia. How does that look, given that xenophobia and human supremacism is kind of a core tenet of the ecclesiarch and imperial cult? Is humans are superior, we will conquer all and all are unclean, purge the heretic, purge the xenos and all that. What does the imperial cult look like when you take out the xenophobia?
A frigging good question. It looks like and I'm so sorry for using this kind of metaphor, or not even metaphor, but simile. To me, it looks like very, very friendly people coming to your door and trying to convert you. You know the cults I'm talking about?
Yep.
And it's even more scary.
Yeah, because they still have the option of shoving a pulse rifle in your face.
Yeah.
But I feel like it probably ends up where the idea of, instead of supplanting supremacy overall, they supplant that with the idea of supremacy through unity. Like,
Yeah, like if you're not with us, you're against us.
which is the Tau in a nutshell.
Yeah.
They're a bit nicer about it, but that's the Tau in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And you can have this idea of, if we work together, we can stand against the horrors of the galaxy. We can enlighten and bring others into the light of the God Emperor and the greater good. And perhaps the God Emperor, in his infinite wisdom, set this test for us. As much as we had to sweep across the galaxy, his true vision was of human unification, not of human soloism, going it alone, wiping out everything that got in our way. Maybe there was a plan for us to exist peacefully alongside those who were willing to work with us. And so the greater good is that test for us. It is, can we put aside our hatred of the alien and work for a common goal? It's creepy, but also completely rational. And
indeed, I think that's what makes it even more creepy. Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. It would be like, yeah, in this kind of like test, in a way, like, hey, it's not just us, there are other people here as well. Perhaps like if we have to join against someone, that would be the chaos. But yeah, because that's not technically xenophobia.
Yeah, and when you're Tau, there's actually less issue in terms of humans aligning with Tau, because abhor the witch, you can still abhor the witch. We don't have psychers. Well, we have a few psychic auxiliaries, but you use psychers, so you don't really have a leg to stand on. Abhor the heretic, well, we do that. We don't really talk about it, but have you ever heard the tale of Commander Farsight? You know, that Tau who went rogue and renounced the greater good, and shush, we don't talk about it. But yes, we abhor the heretic. We just don't use the word heretic. We just use the word traitor. As for abhor the Xenos, okay, you're going to have to work on that one, because we're a big friendly society where all castes and creeds work together for the greater good. But it's not that hard to supplant faith in human supremacy and the God Emperor with faith in supremacy through unity and the greater good. It's not that hard.
Yeah, true. Well, we just converted.
Yes. Yeah.
Are we the heretics now?
Agreed. Right. Well, on that slightly terrifying bombshell, I think that brings us roughly to time. So that has been the episode 122 of Adeptus Podcastus, the Warhammer Fest review special that, even with two people, took nearly an hour and a half. So thank you very, very much to Naerina for joining myself today. It has been an absolute pleasure talking with you, and thank you for coming on the show.
Pleasure's all mine. It has been very, very wonderful to discuss models and all kinds of things with you, and I'm not sure if I'm going to sleep tonight at all, because I'm not sure if I'm a heretic or what am I now.
Yeah, and please do keep the Zeitgeist out of your head. That would be best. But yes, that is all for today. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments below with the word question. And we will keep you in the loop regarding any developments in terms of hosts and panels for episode 123 onwards. So we will keep you in the loop. In the meantime, all the best to Remlays, and I'm sure that you will join me in the comments in wishing him all the best. I'm sure if he gets a chance to read them, he'll appreciate it as well. So, with all that said, thank you very much for watching. This has been Tactica Imperialis.
And this has been Naerina
And we will
from 40k Theories.
and we will see you all next time. Bye for now.
Bye.